Social media influencers will do literally anything for exposure, and those traveler types are no exception. Van life is easily one of the most coveted lifestyles of our day and age due to its picture-perfect portrayal, often romanticized, unconventional, and straight up staged. To be clear, I'm not trying to accuse the community as a whole of essentially lying to viewers through screens, and that's why I'm conducting a series of interviews to offer the truth. My name is Jake Sturkenberg, and I'm an enthusiast of what I like to call the road life. I haven't experienced the van life per se, but what I've done is constructed a custom sleeping and cooking system in my 97 4Runner, and I've done several solo trips, my longest being 6 weeks through the western states. I've experienced the best and worst of what this lifestyle has to offer, and hope to provide some insight with this series. This is the Modern American Dream Tapes.
Right.
Oh, that's good.
Cheers.
What you got there?
Apricot wheat ale. What about you?
Got banana bread beer. It's not bad. Alright, so today I have with me my really good friend, Sam Mla.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Thanks for coming, buddy.
Yeah, of
I've been
course.
looking forward to this interview, so
Me too.
I'm curious to see how it goes.
We'll
so Sam and I and Aiden, who of course I interviewed first, we all kind of take part in not so much the van life as what I call, of course, the road life. And we do an annual trip. For the past few years, we've done a trip together where we've just stayed in our van, whatever SUV or van we had that year, we just stay in. And the longest trip we've done is 16 days all together. The three of us crammed in the back.
Yep.
And it's been really fun. And so I'm hoping that today Sam can kind of share his insight on that and his opinion, share some stories. We'll see.
Yeah, let's do it. Awesome.
So, you just want to explain your experience with the lifestyle and, you know, our trips we've taken together. You just want to kind of build on what Aiden described last time.
For sure. Yeah, so like you said last time, and the same thing with Aiden, it's an annual trip. So every summer, whenever we get the opportunity, we head out, pack the van, set sail somewhere. And honestly, personally for me, it has been such an amazing experience. The thing with van life is you never really honestly expect what's gonna happen, because for our first time being on the road, it was a first-time experience for all three of us.
Yeah,
right?
we didn't really plan anything. Like, we planned the general locations,
Exactly.
but we had no idea what we were gonna do for 2 weeks.
And the second half of our trip, we were in America. We were on the coast, and it's even more, I wouldn't even say scary, it's even more stranger to be in a whole new country, to try to enjoy the vacation that we set sail on, but at the same time still keeping safe, still keeping a routine. And yeah, the first, honestly, trip really did kickstart the future trips that we've had with the van, and just our whole view on camping, really, right? Like, it's just really different.
For sure. So when you're planning a trip, what's like the one thing that above anything else you look forward to for the trip?
Like planning the trip, right?
But when you're planning it, what do you look forward to the most?
Me personally, our first trip was obviously to the coast, and I have never seen the ocean. So when I came over here from Thailand. But anyways, when we were planning it, and like the base idea was to be by the coast, to be where the ocean is, that was like something that just really like kept me going throughout our planning phase. And it was just so much fun to think about all these places we're going to see, but like just really being out of the country, really just being near the ocean was just something really excited about. You know, the beginning phase of it was, you know, the destination.
Yeah, it's just such an unfamiliar place. Like, even though America is our next door neighbors for a country, it almost still seems foreign. Like, even Americans just seem like totally different people than Canadians, surprisingly. But just that the novelty of seeing some place that's not your own is really exciting.
Yeah. And it was also my first time ever in America. So even made the trip that much more memorable just because of it. A lot of the thing was I think the theme of the first trip was first time for a lot of things. So it was really awesome.
Yeah, for sure. The whole experience of not really knowing what you're going to do and kind of winging it, even places you're staying, is just, it's really, it's a level of excitement you don't get from anything else. But the one downside of that is you're gonna find places to stay that certain people don't want you to stay at. Namely police. And I know I personally have had countless instances where I've been kicked out of places, got the 3 knocks on the window, and wake up at midnight and get the light blinding my eyes from his flashlight. And I know that you have a couple too, but do you want to share one of those stories? Yeah,
for sure. Honestly, one of the incidents that I can remember was us in Tofino, beautiful town in BC, specifically Vancouver Island.
The only place you can surf in Canada. The only town that you can surf in the entirety of the country.
I know, and it's beautiful there. One night we were just trying so hard to find a place where we can stay with, you know, still having a nice view and everything, but being in a small town like that, it was really difficult to find a place to stay. So we ended up just parking. Well, I should probably mention that the reason why we ended up parking just at a side, on the side of a road, was because we saw other travelers, you know, doing the same thing.
There were several others there.
Exactly. So we thought that maybe this was a safe place. But early in the morning, like you said, 3 knocks on the door, bright flashing light, where a policewoman came and, you know, told us to leave and that, you know, it was private property. But luckily, she did tell us about a lake nearby where it was, you know, okay to stay overnight.
She was super nice. Yeah, it was free to stay there.
So she, you know, gave us time to pack up and, you know, and we headed over to the lake where we, you know, started our morning routine. But yeah, like you said, there's definitely still, you know, negative thing about car camping is, well, not negative, but the like struggle is finding just places to stay, you know, or it could be, you know, like one of the most difficult things to do.
Yeah, you're saying morning routine. What do you want to elaborate on that? What do you? We did do the same, pretty much the same thing every morning. If we had a nice spot to stay, which was pretty much every evening. But what was our morning routine like?
So honestly, the morning routine was definitely where there are, you know, the positive and the negatives, you know. And honestly, I think one of the biggest like struggle for the 3 of us was just how different our morning routine is, you know. I know that you personally want to wake up early, you know, get the view, get the nice sunrise,
got the coffee on,
right, and
go for a morning dip,
and
shower up in the or wash up in the lakes.
And a lot of the time, you know, that's something that I really do want to do with you. But at the same time, there's also those mornings where just want to sleep in a little bit, you know. I know that's what me and Aiden ended up doing a lot. And you know, and it's just like it takes you know, a good effort to start the day, you know, moving the bed, setting up, you know, a place for us to eat breakfast. But honestly, once, you know, that struggle to really just wake up, you know, move things around, get things ready for us to go. But once we have breakfast, you know, everything's good, you know?
Yeah. And well, that's the hardest part about traveling with a van that you is not really meant for van life per se, because you don't have the built bed and you don't have a set place for everything. So we literally had to set up and take down things every evening for sure, but a lot of the meals too, just to access everything. It was like maybe in the storage compartments under the mattress. It was really frustrating.
And you can definitely see like the growth from our first trip to our most recent, right? Like in the first, like I think in like a few days coming in the trip, like a few days within the trip, we really we were kind of arguing about who gets to do what, just because, we still have that mentality of, being comfortable waking up in a bed. So it was just really like getting each person to have a chore, each person to have a duty. I know we definitely ended up arguing about that, but then we just got so used to it throughout all the trips we've done that, like the most recent trip, the morning routine was so much more smoother than what it was like before. But all in all, we've definitely really growth from the morning routine.
Yeah, just learned how to do it a lot faster and
exactly
realized it was something we had to do, so just get it over with.
Exactly.
I know, especially initially for you, it was your mornings were, you had a routine of your own. I don't know if it was from the meal from the night before, or I don't know if you're just nervous about the way we were traveling. It was something you were unfamiliar with, but you had a bit of a upset stomach every morning, and you had to go run off to find your little private place, which ironically I kind of, from observation, I had to learn from you, because I was never willing to defecate outside.
Yeah, you and Aiden picked on me for so long in the first, when I did that.
It was just something I had never done in my life. And I mean, we were 19. I still hadn't done that. And it wasn't until the year later on our second trip where I had to give that up and just go for it. And it was a very liberating experience. It was very interesting, and honestly, it just felt good. It's like peeing
clean.
outside.
It's
clean. It's like peeing outside. It's the most liberating thing. And when I went on my solo trip, I was doing it every day, like maybe twice a day, because sometimes I couldn't find a washroom.
Exactly.
And sometimes I didn't even want to, because it's, and I'm probably gonna get flack for this, but I never like dug a hole or anything. I never thought about that. But I was, especially I went down to California, and on my way back there's never any washrooms for some reason. So I was going outside maybe twice a day, especially every morning, sometimes in the rain, and that was the worst. That crouching in the rain is never fun.
No.
But on the basis of that, there have been some nights where we haven't been able to find a nice place to stay, so we've stayed at Walmart, and you can stay at Walmart overnight. But there's one story in particular that I would really like to hear again, because it's very close to my heart.
Right.
And it has to kind of do with what we are talking about right now. So are you willing to share that with us today?
Of course. And I'll never forget this, honestly.
Me neither.
It was our first trip, our first night, and yes, we did stay at Walmart. And the morning of that, and I don't know, like you say, it could have been because I was nervous. anxious or something I ate, right?
Yeah.
The morning of, I thought it was early enough for Walmart to be open, but I think it was around 8 o'clock. I woke up, I really had to go.
It didn't open for another
Nope.
hour. Yeah.
No, it wasn't open until like 9, I think. And there was other cars there, right? And I couldn't like wait. I just couldn't wait. So I just honestly ran to the side. I ran to the side, did my business, and as I was leaving, I was looking around to see that, you know, I was good, I was clear, that hoping that nobody saw me. But as I was heading out, I looked around, I looked up the building, and behold, it was a camera. Right on the
camera.
side. Yep, a security camera. It's just right on the side of the building where I left the mark. So, and that did continue throughout our trip with, you know, just every morning I would have to, use washroom. And that was a lot of reason, or a lot of like me waking up early was because of that. And honestly, I don't think a lot of people really talk about, you know, that side of car camping, you know, where you don't have access to bathrooms, you know, everywhere you stop, everywhere you would go, right? And specifically at night or in the morning. I know that on our most recent trip, Aiden, and he's gonna hate me for exposing him to that, our first night in our newest trip, at like 3 a.m., and you were still asleep, but at 3 a.m. he had to go from the...
and it was... Yeah, we were in the middle of nowhere.
Yep,
so
it was
dark.
pitch black. And, you know, in situations like that, you just kind of have to hope for the best. And nothing bad would happen, right?
Oh, you're not even thinking about that. You're just thinking, I just gotta go.
Exactly. Like, honestly, that's why every single trip we go on, we always bring, you know, bathroom... things.
Well, toilet
papers, right? Yeah. And it's just, we'll start by, you know, having like a big roll, and then at the end of the trip, okay, you stop.
So I guess my next question then would be, so you're explaining how kind of the lack of amenities on the road, it's not as easy to access washrooms as you'd think it would be, right? And there's many aspects to road life where there's just things you have to get used to that luxuries you have at home that it makes you appreciate those things all the more. And I guess examples of that would be washing dishes or cooking. Stuff that sometimes, well, most of the time we struggle to agree with, especially starting off with the road life. Yeah. And I know that washing dishes was definitely something we would argue about a lot, because nobody likes that. No. I don't think anybody likes that. Nope. And especially not us guys, and us three guys on the road, we would struggle with figuring out, well, whose turn is it to cook tonight? And whoever's not cooking has to wash dishes. But all we had was this tub that we filled with cold water from our water pump, from the 5-gallon or whatever, like cold soapy water. And it wasn't the nicest way to do it, but it was definitely the most convenient. But yeah, and then, well, for our food, this just kind of sparked a memory, another story. For our food, we just had the old Coleman cooler with the ice. Yep. We had to replace every 2-3 days. And every time the ice melted, we had to drain it and go get some more ice. But I remember that one day, I think it was about a weekend, I had the bright idea of, oh yeah, guys, like instead of draining this melted ice onto the road, why don't we just drain it into our water pump? Right. Why don't we just drain it into our water pump? Because it's cold water. We can just reuse it instead of wasting it, right?
We thought we were so innovative.
But we had raw meat in the cooler for the whole week. and the water was raw meat water. It was like it was probably tinted a little, like it was probably a little pink.
And we even mixed it with our good drinking water too.
And yes, we did put it in. We did put it in the water in the end.
So we had to
we never drank it because I remember, like 2 hours later, I was like, "Oh no, this is not a good idea, guys." Did anybody drink any of that water? And so we
didn't Aiden drink or anything like that? Do you remember that? Like,
I really hope not.
Like looked at you, and he was like really mad.
I really hope not. But we dumped it out in the end. But that was so stupid. I didn't even think about. None of us did.
No, I was good. I was like, this is great. This is smart. I was good to drink it. I was good to use it.
Oh yeah, you're ready to drink that raw
exactly.
meat water.
Yeah, mornings would be a lot more difficult than it already is. But honestly, if you didn't catch that, I think we would have had the trip.
Oh, that would have
ended a lot earlier.
Trip, yeah. So, while we're on the topic of food, I guess, what kind of food did we have? Like, and I mean, obviously we had to kind of consider our budget, so we weren't just going all out on food, but we had to kind of choose what worked best with what we had. We had the Coleman stove, and that's it, which isn't it ain't bad. We got the frying pan, we got the little camping pots, but what kind of food did you enjoy most? What did we usually get?
Yeah, well, before that, even like when we were like going shopping, we had to consider storage, right? Like, yes, we had the fridge, with the small cooler, but we don't want to consistently change out the ice or think about if raw meat, we're gonna go to waste. So a lot of grocery ended up having to be like canned goods or things that are non-perishable, right?
Yeah, KD.
Yeah, exactly. So we have
stuff
KD,
like that.
but even though those are just basic food that you can find in your store, we ended up always making it taste good. Even if we just had pasta, I don't know, maybe it was just where we are, maybe it's just the idea of what we were doing, but just cooking, even just having pasta with tomato sauce, and having hot dogs with mac and cheese.
We had hot dogs a lot,
but it still tasted really good, and I really did enjoy just camp food and getting away from just everyday life eating. But I think some of my absolute favorite things, that food wise on the trip, has to be the fruits that we're so lucky to get.
Buddy.
Oh, there's just
BC
like
just
has the best
British
fruit.
Columbia fruit. So many orchards there.
And we even went picking ourselves.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And the fruits were just so juicy. They were just, just so much flavor, and even the vegetable too, right? Like they became road snacks, right?
The peas were so big,
right? And like we had our meals, we had lunches, we had breakfast, but all the snacks, all the things that we picked up on the way, things that we normally can't find here. I think all those were probably some of my favorite.
The American snacks.
Yeah. Oh, the American Pop. The American Pops were just unreal.
They got so much stuff over there.
And even their snacks, they're so different too.
Yeah.
I remember, do you remember they were like cheesy bites, but they're like pizza flavor or like cheese flavor, and you were like really grossed out at first.
The pizza roll thing.
Yeah, at first you were like kind of against it because you thought it would give you stomach ache, which you probably did. But then I remember you telling me on your solo trip, you ended up getting some. Yeah. And
those are my go-to, man.
Right?
Oh, pub mix is my go-to.
And even like specifically in Canada, just because I think our first trip, even our second trip in America, we were still under 21. So even when we were still here traveling around BC, finding like really cool drinks, and I know you're a beer enthusiast.
Oh shoot! Yes. Well, that reminds me of another story about the beer, because we did get the beer in Canada, but then we went over to the States.
I definitely remember that night.
That was last year, so we were 20. And
but you were technically still 19.
I was 20.
You were 20? Okay.
And I figured, like, I've been legal for 2 years in Canada. Like, I should be fine in America. I can't buy it, but I brought a couple big bottles there, so I figured it wouldn't matter. But anyway, we were on our way back to Canada, and we stayed in Glacier National Park for the night. And again, we were struggling to find a place to stay.
Yeah.
And this was also our first experience with staying overnight in a national park.
Which is a big no-go.
It didn't go too well because, well, and a lot of the time our technique is to make sure there's no signs, prohibiting overnight stay.
And there were any signs?
We looked for a while, but we did find one spot, and it was a roadside pull-off. Like, of course there won't be a sign, but in our heads we're like, oh, there's no sign that says no overnight stay, so we should be fine. So we parked there, we walked down to the beach, it was on a lake, and we set up our hammocks in the trees. And it was like...
So excited for that night too.
Oh man, it was like 11 or 12 at night. All the stars were out. I had my big like 750 ml bottle of like coffee stout. I was so excited to drink it, and you and I were down at the beach in Aden, and again you see the flashlight. See the truck pull up.
But it wasn't the police this time. It was the
park rangers.
Right.
And so they yell like, hey, you guys aren't planning on staying here, are you? And we're like, no, we're just
stargazing.
We're just stargazing and
just chilling.
So they told us to come up to the road, and so we did. I had the bottle in my hand, pretending I wasn't completely ignorant. I was trying to play it off as if I was like, I'm 18 in Alberta, so like I thought it'd be fine. And
we were 22, at that time we were 20 years old.
I thought you said 22. Yeah, we were 20 years old.
Yeah.
And in America, and so he's like, well, no, it's 21 here.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I didn't know.
Playing the victim card. Yeah.
And so he's like, well, do you have anything else in your car? And I think he like went in our van and started pulling out all these bottles, empty bottles, lining them up on the road. And he's like, well, you can't have empty bottles. You can't drive with empty bottles. And I was like, those are soda pop.
Yeah, they were just pop. Yeah,
those are soda pop. And he's like, oh. But I did have a beer still in my hand that I was drinking. So it didn't seem like he was as worried about that as the fact that we were illegally camping.
Yeah.
And so we got a $170 ticket.
You were even mad about the ticket. That was the thing. It's like...
But he took my beer.
Yeah, that's exactly
And it was from BC. It was so nice.
It was your coffee beer.
I love those porters, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they kicked us out anyway at midnight. And we didn't know where to go. We were in the middle of the park, and we had to leave the park because you can't stay in the park overnight. And so that night we just ended up staying like right off the side of the highway,
and
in like a tall
like a
grass
bar too, so it was really sketchy because you were just hearing people like yelling and screaming.
It was that was a sketchy night.
Yeah.
And that was an expensive ticket.
Yeah, no kidding. And it was in American currency too.
Oh yeah, so that was US dollars.
Yeah.
It was even worse in Canadian dollars. So you and I, we were kind of the first to well, at least that I knew, you were the one that was willing to kind of begin this endeavor of experiencing this lifestyle with me. And the first time we ever tried this was actually before our annual trips with Aiden. You and I went to Banff, but we took my mom's Buick.
Yeah.
And just we had like old like 70s foam mats in the back and just quilts, and that's it. And it was comfy. And
plus it was only the two of us, so a little bit more room
we had lots of room. And we just stayed in a campground this. Well, we actually no, we
Not the first night.
the first night we stayed in like Walmart parking lot, and then the second night we stayed in an official campground. But that night's sleep was like the coziest sleep I'd ever had up to that point, and it just stuck with me as like, this is really cool. And we had like the lantern, we had like these
the lights, the
paper lanterns in there, bought some drinks, and it was such a fun night. And next day, of course, we explored the national park, went to Lake Louise, and this was even like the spark of just us and our habit of getting lost, because you and I have always had that habit of kind of just going off the trail. And so we went to Lake Louise, and of course it's so touristy there, so we just went up one of the trails, but about halfway up to, it was like the tea house trail, and about halfway up we kind of split off the trail and slid down some rocks for like hundreds of feet, like really far. And you were like, I remember you were taking your time, but we just got down into this valley, and the entire thing was a glacier, and it was the most insane thing.
Still scared me, like going down the side of that mountains. It was really slippery.
I didn't even think about that, because and even the fact that the whole thing was a glacier, because well, I even remember like most of it was covered by like pebbles, and I remember brushing off some pebbles and looking in it, and the whole thing was glowing blue, like fluorescent blue, just all ice.
And we were even up that high, like altitude wide, and there's
we were up at the glaciers, because it was probably late June or July, and the glaciers were melting. They're having like these avalanches, and I thought it was a plane flying over, because it was echoing. It was echoing through the valley, but I looked up, and there was just snow just like crashing down from the glaciers all around us, and there was these huge crevices in the glacier that I would look down, and it's just black, but you just see like steam or mist rising from the crevices, and these huge crevices that we could have fallen in, and you would never get back out of there. We could have died from several things
and
that
it was
day.
It was just you and me too.
Yeah, and I remember we had to come down from that glacier, and we had to come down off the trail, of course, and we just came down the valley, and I remember this kind of brings up another story, and because we were coming down, and we were walking around these big boulders, and I heard this meowing.
We thought, like a mountain lion?
It was definitely a cougar.
A cougar?
I know that they do that. Like they do kind of make cat noises to kind of draw their prey in, and I heard this meowing, and I was like, I think I've heard. Oh shoot, we should probably get out of here.
Dude, I remember it was also getting late too. The sun was setting. Yeah. It was like mid-evening, 8.
Yeah. Well, do you remember our other encounter with the cougar?
I still remember like your nonchalant face. So we were in Waterton. We stayed back.
Yeah, Waterton
really
National Park.
One night, and we were just walking around town, walking on the beach, where the side was all like taped off.
Yeah, the campground was closed, and the rest of the beach, it had like the do not enter.
Yeah, and do you remember the cop that we saw, and he was telling us?
Oh, park ranger. Yeah, he came. We jumped over the tape.
Yeah, and he was telling us not to be in there, and that we had to walk away. So we just walked around it, and we're walking back on one of this alley, and
pitch black.
It was pretty late, and I do remember like we were talking about how I thought I was hearing like not like a gun noise, but more of like rubber bullet noise, like just
tranquilizer. Yeah,
probably.
Well, and he told us there was a cougar in the area, and that's why it was closed off.
And we didn't really think a lot of it, just because there were like police officers there, so we didn't really fear. But I remember just turning back and just seeing like this creature just like running, just like it was even zigzagging, and I was like, Jake, run. And you were just like, you know, kind of laughing, smirking. You thought I was just kind of playing.
I thought you were kidding.
Right? And I was just like in my head, I was like, oh no, run. And then you're just kind of like wobbling behind me, laughing. And not until we got to a street where I actually told you that there was something chasing us, that's when you really freaked out.
I've never seen you run so fast.
Right? Like I was like taking off.
You are a bigger guy, and
but you saw me took off.
You passed me, and you just went so fast.
And I just like turned back, and I was like, why isn't he running? Like I was thinking like we were gonna, you know, get eaten or get like bitten if we didn't like bolt it.
Yeah.
But I just remember how calm you were until, you know, you realized that something was there.
I had no idea. I was so oblivious.
So that was really like, I'm pretty sure they were chasing it off. So I don't think we were in too much danger, but like it was so close to you.
I didn't realize what was happening until I heard the shots whiz right behind me, and I was like, oh shoot,
like there was actually something
going on
there, right? And I don't know, like just things like that you just never really expect to happen, like but honestly, just those kind of things just makes telling, you know, people about our trip just so much more better, so much more funnier.
Yeah. Man, we have too many stories to even go through or touch on, so I think I'm just gonna end it there. I mean, it's pretty crazy to look back and see where we started from, and you know, just in my mom's SUV, and now I got this thing, and I don't
think we've ever traveled with this one.
No, you haven't. You haven't. No. Come with me. I've just been solo traveling with it, but it's a game changer, and I'm
stepping up in
moving my way up there. Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy to look back and see
our
where we started. Yeah. But you'll always be the one that I started this whole thing with, and I'll never forget what we've been through.
Of course, never forget it, man. It's one of the best things.
Yeah. Here's to friendship.
To friendship. And to many more adventure, right?
Oh yeah. Heck yeah, buddy. So, I gotta end with a question again. This is a controversial question this time.
All right, let's hear it.
How did COVID start?
How did COVID start? Batman.
Batman?
It's all Batman's fault.
Why is that?
It's Batman's fault.
What did Batman do?
Get eaten.
Somebody ate Batman? Who?
Some random Asian dude.
So you're implying that Batman's real?
Hey, I'm not saying he isn't real.
But you're saying he's real.
It's a controversy.
It's a controversy?
Yeah.
It's a controversy. Okay.
Did you not see that picture of that bat though? Like when
I never saw the picture.
No, like when this whole like COVID thing, like when it was being investigated and things like that, like apparently they found this bat that was the size of a fox. It was like a fox bat.
Oh,
and it was a huge
maybe
bat.
It was a guy.
Yeah, it was like
a guy dressed up in a bat suit.
Right? Got eaten and then COVID spread it.
I gotta disagree. I say it's the vegetarians, man.
You think it's the vegetarians?
I mean, all these meat plants shutting down.
Right.
It's their master plan, you know. Like, not to be insensitive. I know people are, you know, dying out there.
Does that mean you don't like tofu?
I think it's the vegetarian. Oh heck no! Just give me a steak. You know, like we're all these meat plants are shutting down. This is their master plan.
Wait, but COVID.
They might have went a little too far this time.
Yeah, but COVID is an animal disease. It's mainly
they're
an animal, right?
The vegans, they're animals. They're all animals. Okay, yeah, I don't think we need to investigate this issue anymore because our opinions should not be taken to heart. Well, except for mine. I think I'm right.
Vegan gang, where you at?
But anyways, thank you so much for tuning in, and For you, Sam, thank you.
Of course, thank
so
you for
much
having me.
Thank you for joining me.
Of course,
I
it's
really
been awesome.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Really appreciate your time.
Mm-hmm. Oh wait, by the way, how's your book coming?
Yeah,
new with
so
that?
well, thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Well, the book is still in process. I'm
Right.
hoping to get it printed
first,
soon.
Yeah, and I get first copy, right? Or second? At least second after your family.
Second.
Okay, good.
I get the first.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, well, to touch on that, yeah, this is kind of a way also to promote a book that I've written, and it's again, it's all finished. I'm in the kind of final stages, but it should be done soon. But I mean, most importantly, these videos are just a way to kind of chat with some friends and just talk about what I'm passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping to have some more interviews on the way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just keep throwing out that content, I guess, as they call it. So again, thank you, Sam, for joining me. Hope to see you again on another video in the future.
I'm always down. You know it. I'm always down.
All right.
Let's
See you
do it.
later, man.
Wait, we gotta do that.
Oh yeah. I'll see you later.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification.
Or not.
Or
I mean,
not.
it's your
Just kidding.
choice.
Just kidding.
It's your choice. You can dislike it if you want. I don't care. Like it though.